the late night before Christmas! With our host, Leonard Wall!
Always miss that. I try, always miss that. Welcome to a very late night Christmas. Are we ready to be silly? Yes, we're ready to be silly. I love that. This is what I need. What they just did, do that again. You were there once. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. We'll work on that. I hate surprises, but I love my mother. So imagine, if you will, my mother and I have this wonderful relationship. I love her, and she cooks for me. And I think that's the relationship. She loves to cook, and I love to eat her cooking. So my mother, every Thanksgiving, makes a roasted turkey it's absolutely wonderful. It falls off the bone. In order to do this, she has to spend about 10 hours in the kitchen and take about a bottle of wine. I let her do that. I tell her, Mother, you don't need to do that, but she says, I love to do this. So imagine my surprise for last Thanksgiving. We didn't have roasted turkey. We had tofurkey, which is tofu with turkey flavor. Now, it's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. So, this being the Christmas season, allow me to, in the spirit of giving, give you 3 gifts for you to enjoy your first tofurkey meal. Make certain it is served hot. Make certain that you slice it very thin and use a lot of gravy. And third, and probably the most important thing, before you sit down to eat, make certain that you're starving! Tofurkey will sustain life until you can find real food. Food. It seems like from Thanksgiving all the way till New Year's, that's all we seem to talk about. Food. How many parties did you go to? How many plates did you put in front of your face? How many calories did you put into your mouth? And along with that, there's the diet plans. The diet plans of, you can save, well, not save, you can lose inches from your waist and eat anything that you want. But I've noticed, with my keen powers of observation, that there is one man who is not allowed to diet. Nay, it's not that he's not allowed to diet, it's that I will not let him diet. And that is Santa Claus. If I'm going to spend 6 hours in the mall waiting for my child to get a snapshot on some lap, I want my fantasy to be intact. I do not want skinny Santa. I do not want triathlete Santa. I want jolly. I want plump. I want out of breath riding up the escalator Santa. I need Santa to be chubby. And if I see that Santa's losing weight, I'll put an extra cookie on his plate and feed him whole milk. And I expect you to do the same. See, fantasy truly makes our world go around. Just take a look at the NFL, the National Football League. They develop fantasy football, right? So you no longer have to root for a stinker, just one team, right? Like the Washington Redskins. Clearly, there's people living in a fantasy. No, you can with a fantasy team, you can build your own team, however you want to put it. You can pick your own quarterback, your running back, your wide receiver, pick your own defense, and at the end of the season, if you win absolutely nothing. But you're so happy. You're so happy. And for this reason, and this reason alone, I think we should develop fantasy politics. See, we all root for a stinker. Thank you. We all root for a stinker right now. So why not mix it up a little bit? Why not throw a few bawdy Republicans in there? take a few choice Democrats, put in some radicals with some conservatives, and throw in a few independents, and then hopefully at the end of your season, your fantasy politics team will win. And you'll be so happy! Because politics makes us so sad. Now, I've noticed with my keen powers of observation that this topic comes up every time this year. Was it a miracle, or is it simply a man-made creation? I think there's one thing that we can all agree on. Once you receive this gift, it lasts for an eternity. Of course, I'm speaking about fruitcake. I've had several long conversations with Miss Betty Crocker, and she swears she doesn't know what kind of cake that is. I've gone across the street and talked to Mr. Duncan Hines, and he says he would never put his name on that cake. And the fruit, it's a scientific fact that fruit grows on no tree known to man. Now, we've had a fruitcake in my family for generations, and I've noticed with my keen powers of observation that when I flip it over on the bottom, there's a small inscription. And it says, on loan from Smithsonian. We have a great show for you tonight. Give me 1 second. I must tell you, please put your hands together for the best late night band that there ever was. The comic stylings of Stevie, very funny in the very beginning, right? Got you on your feet, got you loosened up. Stevie, please. Stevie and I go way back. He does all these wonderful, crazy things. I remember, he dressed up one time as the Klondike Bear. Wonderful, right? But my best memory of Stevie was back in 2013 for the New Year's Eve show. He came out dressed as Baby Herman. Nothing but a diaper and smoking a cigar? Wonderful. That show was rated R for disturbing images. So tonight, we have so many people writing in about Christmas. All these things about Christmas. All these questions. Did this happen? Did that happen? So instead of just reading questions for you, I thought I would channel it inside of me. I thought I would embody the questions myself, and I would allow the questions come out as if I was asking them myself instead of coming from you. Is that all right? Yeah. Fantastic. I would like to welcome our first guest tonight. Now, she's been on the show several times. It's probably her 5th or 6th appearance, and she's my definition of a nut. You love her as much as I do. Please put your hands together for Dr. Holly Furr. It has been long. It has. Please.
Okay. Fun. I am so excited to be here tonight, but I have a question for you. I've been here before. We always had food back in the green room, and I'm starving.
Yes, there's a problem. See, we have a stage manager. His name is Ray Raymond.
Yes.
He eats all the food. We got him from Craigslist. Perhaps we'll try some other method to get us
I
in.
think you should try someone else. Man, I'm just starving.
I do apologize for that.
But anyway.
I love the outfit.
Oh, thank
You're
you.
just a beautiful,
Yeah.
radiant Christmas tree.
It doesn't make me look fat, do you think? What do you think?
No, it doesn't make you look fat.
Okay.
A little furry, but not fat.
Yeah, that's acceptable. Hey, I've got a favor to ask. Listen, I've got some friends. I've got Facebook, and I was wondering if I could get a Facebook picture.
I would love that.
Oh, great. Hang on. Let me get my camera. Hang on. Okay. Ready? Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Trees.
Oh, trees.
Okay. Oh, excellent. Uh-oh. Hang on. Oopsie. Hang on just a second. I have a problem. I blinked. Hang on. Hang on.
Very good.
There we go. Okay, let's try it again. Okay. 1, 2. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Trees.
Trees.
Excellent. I'm excited to be here. This is my favorite time of year,
Your favorite time of year.
Absolutely my favorite time.
Christmas is your favorite time of year.
Absolutely.
Well,
What would it be?
I don't know. I never knew that about you. So the last time that you were on the show, you had just gotten married. You had
Yes.
just got married, and I know that this is personal, but do you have any saplings?
Yes. I just
You know you love it.
I have my precious little Watt. He was born at the hospital, and I just remember that magical moment last year. We were in the delivery room, and the doctor held him up and gave me Watt fur. He is growing like a weed, I tell you.
His name is Watt.
Watt.
Watt fur.
Watt fur.
That's nice, Holly. I see a very early career in mixed martial arts.
Okay.
He'll grow up straight and strong. Yes, straight and strong. I don't think he'll be very popular. That was a good one, huh? Popular. So, Holly, do you like to play games?
I love games.
Wonderful, wonderful. Stevie and I have a bet.
Okay.
Stevie and I have a bet. He bet me a whole box of M&Ms. As you can see, I have M&Ms here. He bought me up.
M&Ms. All right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Please help yourself. He bet me a whole box of M&Ms that I could not guess your husband's name in 3 guesses.
Okay.
All right? Do you think I can do it? No. Thank you for your support. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. Candy for you. All right, guess number 1. Forest.
Nope, sorry, not Forrest.
Number 2. Smokey the Bear.
Oh, no.
All right, Stevie, here we go.
How much did you bet?
M&M's.
Oh, M&M's, oh, okay.
Right. Bob.
You must be psychic.
I got it.
No, you didn't get it. I didn't say you were a good psychic, but you're still psychic. It's
Here I
Noble.
was almost to do a victory dance. No, it's not Bob.
No, it's Noble.
Wow.
Noble fur.
Noble fur. Holly, so tell us about your family history.
Well, I grew up, I come by loving trees, honestly. I grew up down in Southwest Virginia in Grayson County, and it's the Christmas tree capital of the United States. And the environment there is just right for fir trees. Well, my grandfather, Fraser, started the farm a long time ago, and then his son, my father, Daddy Douglas, anyway, he picked it up, and then, the rest is history. I'm well rooted in that area. I love it. And I will tell you, those are 2 of the hardest working men I have ever seen in my life. I just miss them so much, but they were hard workers. I tell you, they worked harder than a 3-legged cat in a sand pile.
Wow. Have you ever thought about branching out?
Never. I am
You know you love
rooted. I am rooted in the tree industry.
Wow. Well, and so I am a psychic to a degree. Obviously not good at guessing names, but you're dressed as a Christmas tree. And
Yes.
so that kind of lends into the first question I was having was the Christmas tree. Does it come from pagan origins?
Well, a lot of people ask about that. Actually, the first references that we have to evergreens around Christmas were with the Romans. At New Year's, they would put the boughs of evergreens around their temples so that they could be reminded that there was going to be a spring at some point in time. You get in the dead of winter, cold, dark, all of that, and they wanted something life-giving, and so they put evergreens. Well, they weren't the only ones, though, that loved the evergreens. Of course, who doesn't love evergreens? So the Northern Europeans picked up on that, and they began potting trees and would bring them into their homes during the wintertime, just to decorate homes. Well, now Christians, as you know, were exposed to these people a lot, and so they were paying attention, and they liked the thought of having greens in their homes, but it was kind of a mixed bag on whether or not they should, just because of what they represented. Well, about the Middle Ages, the missionaries decided, you know what, if a soul can be converted, so can a symbol. And so that's where we find the first evidence of Christmas trees around in Latvia around 1510. And even Martin Luther got in on the act. It was rumored that he was walking through the woods on a dark Christmas Eve, looked up at the sky and saw these beautiful stars, and remembered that the light of heaven came down and came down to earth as a child for us. Now, the Christians it became more popular in homes, and because the Christmas trees have 3 points, you see 3 points?
I see that, yes.
They saw that as representing the Holy Trinity. Now, it took a while for things to move westward, but they ultimately did, and in England, they came to England, and the trees gained some popularity in the United States, but it wasn't until Queen Victoria decorated her Christmas tree elaborately in Windsor Castle. Of course, she never did anything halfway, and then it just took off, and people are crazy about them now.
Wow. Do you ever breathe?
Oh, yes.
I mean, you're sitting down. I don't want you to get faint and fall. I noticed the adornment on your.
Oh yeah, the decorations.
Exactly. It must be budget cuts because the candy canes look frightfully small. So they're either candy canes for dwarfs or half candy canes.
Here, you want one? Here. There you go.
Wonderful.
Yeah, the candy canes are wonderful. They actually have a representation for Christ. There was a candy maker in Indiana who wanted to give witness to Christ at Christmas, and so he decided that one of the best things that he could do was to make a candy. And he decided to make it hard to represent the solid rock, the white to represent purity, and the red to represent the blood that Christ shed for us. Now, if you look at the shape of it, isn't that an unusual shape for a candy? If you hold it this way, it looks like a shepherd's crook, doesn't it?
It does.
It's just like a shepherd's crook that reminds us of who the angels went to the night that Christ was born. But if you turn it this way, it's a J, or J. And so that's how we came with that. Now, originally...
And the J is for who?
The J is for Jesus.
Of course,
Yes.
it's for Jesus.
Yes.
Yes, J. Everyone else knew that, right?
Now, the original ornaments that they started putting on were the little Eucharist wafers. Now, have you ever had one of those? Blech. I mean, there's not a lot to it and not a lot of flavor, but thankfully the Germans really came through and they loved cookies, and they began to do cookies. Hey, I forgot about that. Do you want one? Here, have one.
Thank
Have a
you
cookie.
so much.
Have a cookie. I was just starving. You got to talk to that stage manager. Anyway, so the Germans, they came around and started decorating the trees with cookies, and then other things started coming along as
Is there
well.
supposed to be stuff inside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's how we came with the decorations for the Christmas tree.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I wish you could enjoy this, but you can't. So, Holly, hold on one second. Let me stew and swallow. We have some reddery and greenery, some special plants, right? Because plants have meaning, right?
Uh-huh.
I've been told.
Plants have meaning.
So